Sorry, I think I was mute. So let me start again for you guys. So basically, uh, actually, I have another session, Mr. iPhone. I have another session which is at 10 o'clock, but next week or next week maybe it is possible, or maybe after 2 weeks I can change the time of this page. But for now, it would be 8:30 to uh, 10 p.m. because I have another session as well. Page number 23 is still in progress. Am I audible to you guys? Because my mic was mute and I was talking. So I need to confirm if I'm audible to you guys
Uh,
or not.
yes, Ali, we can
Okay,
hear you very well.
okay, perfect.
Or at
So,
least I can hear you very well.
perfect, perfect. So basically,
So
yesterday
go ahead.
we started this, we finished module number one, which was just an introduction to the course, and we also discussed that which topic we are going to cover in this whole training. So today we are going to start from module number two. In this lesson, in this module, we are going to focus on introduction to vSphere, and we will also talk about SDDC, which means that software defined data center, right? So this module consists of four lessons, right? But today we are going to focus only to finish only one lesson, which is overview of vSphere and virtual machines, right? So this would be our main agenda of today's lesson, and uh, I will also try if we can finish today, if we can start with the lab today, but again, it would be too early because we need to understand some of the concept before doing the lab, right? One more thing, at least after today's session, you will get an idea that how we are going to start with building our own lab for to practice all the topics and features. So that's also in my agenda of today. Uh, Basically, in this module, as I discussed, that we have total four lessons. So we will only start cover lesson number one, which is overview of vSphere and virtual machines, right? So we will start from virtualization, right? And then we will discuss the role of a vSphere in software-defined data center, and then we have a product which is called Skyline. So we will also talk about Skyline, that how proactively you can manage your uh, vSphere environment, right? So we will also talk about this. So these are the main topics which we are going to cover in today's lesson. But before starting the lesson, the training, we need to understand some of the concept, products, or features. So if you see operating system in the upcoming slides, right? If I am presenting a slide to you guys and you see operating system word, so which means that I'm talking about Windows 10, or I'm talking about Linux operating system, or I'm talking about Mac operating system. If I'm talking about application, which means that I'm talking about MS Office, Active Directory, domain services. I'm talking about email server. I'm talking about web services. I'm talking about packet tracer, right? What is virtual machines? Virtual machine is like a software representation of a physical machine. So we are going to discuss this virtual machine as well. Like normally, when you have to install operating system, you need a physical machine, right? But in virtualization technology, what we do, basically we install a hypervisor on hardware directly, and then we create a virtual machine, and then we install operating system, and then we can install application of based off our requirements. So that's the whole story. Uh, Guest. So guest means that there would be two terms basically: guest operating system and uh, guest machine. So virtual machine is also called a virtual virtual machine is also called a guest machine, but operating system installed on virtual machine is called guest operating system. So for uh, if I say guest OS, maybe I will use this word in my upcoming lecture. So I will say let's install guest operating system. So just keep in mind that I'm going to install operating system on a virtual machine, right? What is hypervisor? So we talked about hypervisor. We talked about type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. So let me pause for a while and let me ask you, who should I ask? Uh, I think Mr. Sushil was uh, there in the session yesterday. So Mr. Sushil, can you tell us the difference between type 1 and type 2 hypervisor? If you are speaking, you are mute, Mr. Sushil. Yep, here you go. Again, I'm not able to hear you. Don't Google it, Mr. Sushil. Ronnie, anyone else voluntarily?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Uh,
Yep.
no, no, no. I didn't Google either. I can turn on my. No, 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 no.
No problem, I trust you. Yes, tell me.
No, 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 no. You can believe.
Okay,
This one
perfect.
is with me just writing, and yeah, I can say that Type 1 is installed on hardware, and Type 2 is like guest. We installed it on operating system.
Okay,
Am I
perfect.
right or wrong? Am I right or wrong?
Yes, you are right. Basically, type 1 hypervisor can be directly installed on hardware, and for type 2 hypervisor, we need operating system to be installed on the hardware first, and then we install type 2 hypervisor. So thank you, Sushil. Okay, so I who should I ask? Mr. Saj should answer me that uh, what is the example of type 2 hypervisor? Which type 2 hypervisor are you currently using, Mr. Saj?
Type 2 hypervisors means that it is installed on operating system, and the type 2 hypervisor I use is VMware Workstation,
Hmm.
on which I can run multiple VMs at the same time. And there are many type 2 hypervisor, like for Mac we use VMware Fusion, and
Hmm.
the Oracle type 2 hypervisor, which name is VirtualBox, which is
Perfect,
also a famous product in type 2 hypervisor.
perfect. Yep, that's good. And Mr. Ehsan, Mr. Ehsan, I need to know the type 1 hypervisor.
Like VMware and
VMware what?
Citrix.
VMware what?
Uh,
You should.
VMware
VMware is a
EXSI,
company.
EXSI.
It's not a hypervisor, you know. Citrix is also a company.
Yes. It's a EXSI
ESXi, very good.
with the
Citrix, Zen
uh,
server. The
server.
yep, the old name of Citrix hypervisor is Citrix Zen server. But I believe that the new name of Citrix hypervisor is Citrix hypervisor. And from
Yes.
Microsoft side, we have a Hyper-V, right?
Hyper-V as well.
Yep, it's
They
also
are
a type 1
offering
hypervisor.
the
Perfect.
as
So, uh, yep. So I
yes.
think if I say a word hypervisor in my upcoming lectures, so just keep in mind that I'm talking about hypervisor like VMware ESXi, or I'm talking about uh, VMware Workstation, right? What is host? So basically, host can be of two types: host operating system and host machine. So if I say host machine, which means that I'm talking about a hardware on which the type 1 hypervisor is installed. So if I'm talking about, if I say host operating system, what does it mean? It means that I'm talking about type 2 hypervisor which is installed on Windows 10 machine or Linux machine. So the Windows 10 machine on which the VMware workstation is installed, that Windows 10 machine is called host operating system, right? What is vSphere? Anyone? What is vSphere? If I say what is vSphere, so what would
It
be the
basically
simple answer?
it will
This
be
is this
combination of the host and the hypervisor, and under the umbrella of the EXSI, and we are using the vCenter,
Hmm.
and these are the environment which all will be used.
I can say this is the suites of yeah, like MS Office.
Perfect, perfect, Sushi. Yep.
It is a product of VMware for server virtualization.
Yeah. So basically, vSphere is a product of VMware which they used for data center virtualization, especially for server virtualization. So it's a combination of which two products? Can someone answer me? I mentioned yesterday. What is the two main components of vSphere? So vSphere consists of which two products? Abira.
ESXi and vCenter server.
Yep, you saved her. Yeah, so basically it's a ESXi hypervisor and vCenter server, right? What is cluster? We discussed cluster yesterday. So basically, if you have a hardware, right, and you have installed, let me change the font
It's a
size.
combination of the host.
Yep, you are right, Mr. Uh, Ehsan. Was it you?
Yes,
Why my font size is very okay? It's good now. Let me make it 18. Voice is not clear. Yeah, the reason is I'm just near. I just need 5 minutes of yours because I'm almost near uh, to my flat. So just stay with me for a while. So if you have a hardware and you have installed ESXi, it's very hard if you are traveling and you are delivering a training, especially if you are making a diagram. But I will try my best. So cluster mean that if you have three ESXi host or multiple ESXi host, we can create a cluster. Let's suppose each ESXi host has 32 GB of RAM and it has like 16 cores of CPU, right? Let me ask you something. Let's suppose I have this environment and I have to run a virtual machine. Each ESXi host has same specification. It has the same amount of RAM and it has the same amount of uh, CPU cores, right? On this VM, I have installed a server operating system, for example, but I need to install an application which need uh, like 48 GB of RAM required to run an application, right? So, is it possible to run this virtual machine on this host, which has a 32 GB of RAM? Anyone? Is it possible? Can we run?
After clustering, it is possible.
Yeah,
Yes, it is possible.
before clustering, it's not possible. But if we create a cluster of these three ESXi hosts, we can pool, we can create a pool of the resources, right? Like RAM pool, CPU pool, and then after when once we have a cluster, then it is possible because cluster basically combine or it create a pool of the resources. So this is one of the use cases of the cluster. What are the other reasons we need to create a cluster? Guys, if you are new, so basically after 10 minutes the session would be disconnected, right? So if you got disconnected, you should reconnect. You should rejoin the session using the same link, right? But from next week, inshallah, I will move this training to WebEx or Microsoft Teams uh, for all those students so which confirm the registration for the whole training. So they will get access to my WebEx room, and there would be no disconnectivity, right? Okay, need to know about more about cluster. So basically, cluster is basically why we need to create a cluster, right? The reason we need to create a cluster to combine the resources of the ESXi host. And we have some feature like, can someone tell me? Yesterday we discussed cluster level feature.
Yes, in here we can achieve the high availability,
Perfect.
uh,
Yep. So HA
fault
like
tolerance.
HA, DRS, vSAN, EVC
Yes.
boot. These are feature of cluster, right? So if you don't have a cluster, then you cannot use these feature, yeah, right? So Abhishek, I'm going to explain it. Abhishek has a question regarding what is the difference between cluster and data center, right? I'm going to explain it. So these are some of the feature for which we need to create a cluster, right? So once we don't have a cluster, we cannot use these feature, right? Abhishek, I will answer you after once. Let me finish these things. We have another option, vSphere V-Motion. What is V-Motion? Can someone tell me? I think we yesterday we discussed V-Motion.
vMotion, you can transfer the virtual machine from one EXI to another EXI. If one hardware is failed, you can easily transfer the other one.
Hmm, it's wrong. Not correct. Anyone else? I need an answer.
Yeah, exactly. Once you're migrating VM from one ESXi host to another ESXi host,
Hmm.
vMotion is the feature to support that migration. Either it's a live migration or like that.
Okay. Anyone else? I need a very simple answer so everyone can understand. Guys, give me just
We use
sorry.
this
Uh,
features. Okay.
yeah, sorry,
Who is
Tushit.
speaking?
Give me just 3 minutes. So let's take a three
Ah,
minute
okay.
break. I just reached,
Okay.
so let me go to my room. So, what was my question? My question was regarding V motion. So, I need an answer in a very simple way. Basically, I need the simple answer
For
from you.
example, we have multiple ESXi hosts on one ESXi host there is a VM running. And if you want to migrate the VM from one ESXi host to another, so it can be done after configuration of vMotion.
Basically, a very simple answer is moving a powered on virtual machine from one host to another host. So, with vMotion, we can move a powered on virtual machine from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. So I think this is a very simple answer, right? Perfect. Okay, can we use cluster feature within single hardware device? Nope, Mr. Abhishek. Cluster is basically a, a vCenter based option, right? If you have a vCenter server, then you can create a cluster, and that's it. That's the answer. Okay. Uh, what is high availability? HA mean high availability. We talked about high availability yesterday. What is DRS feature? We also talked about DRS feature, right? So these are some of the concepts. So if you see DRS, which means that I'm talking about distributed resource scheduler. high availability. HA mean high availability. So what is virtual machine? Anyone? It's written here. It's a is a compute resource, right? Luckily, I have a lab access, so let me access my lab as well. And in the meantime, you can.
I'm a Juniper guy as well.
Okay, you are Juniper guy as well. That's good.
Yeah.
So, what is virtual machine, right? I need to turn off your mic. So a virtual machine is a compute resource that uses software instead of a physical computer to run programs and deploy applications. So I think this slide I can explain it to you. I just copied this picture from the internet. The reason I'm using my own customized slides because I'm going to post the first two lecture. Yesterday I already posted on my YouTube, and I'm also going to post this less lecture on the YouTube channel. So, which is why I'm not using the official slides. So I'm using the topics, but I'm not using their diagram because it would be like a copyright so restriction. So I don't want to uh, make my put my YouTube channel in a risk. So uh, without virtual machines, what we do basically, if we have a hardware, we install operating system directly on this hardware, right? And we can run multiple applications. So if you have a personal machine and you have MS Office installed and you have Packet Tracer installed and you have some other tools installed on your Windows 10 machine, it's not going to be a problem that much. But in production environment, if you are uh, if you have to run multiple application like services, Active Directory domain services, DNS service, web services, FTP services, file services, right? So it's not a good practice to install all the application or services on the same hardware, right? So we need to have a separate machine, a separate operating system for a different for each uh, application. Like so, if you have a data center and you have to run Active Directory and you have to run FTP, then you have to have two different hardwares, right? But with virtualization, what you can do, you can install hypervisor, ESXi hypervisor on a hardware, right? And then you can create virtual machine like this. So these are virtual machine. And then you can install operating system just like you install operating system on the hardware, the physical machine. So which component we need for operating system? We need RAM, we need CPU, we need storage, we need network connectivity. So each virtual machine has a virtual RAM, vCPU, virtual hard disk, a virtual disk, sorry, and virtual network interface adapter, right? And let me tell you one thing. You know, operating system which is installed on a virtual machine, that operating system doesn't know that whether I'm installed on physical machine or virtual machine, right? So it this is straightforward. So this is the story. Like you can see here, I have a hardware. This is my one of the ESXi host. If I log into my host, I have created multiple virtual machine. So do not worry how we can install this hypervisor. We do have a lab on this because my training is basically I start from the very basic level, right? Even I will show you how you can create your own lab for practice purpose. So as we can see here, I have this Dell machine, I have this Dell hardware. This is the model of the this machine. I have 32 GB of RAM, and how many VMs I have created? 14 virtual machine. And these are my virtual machines, right? For different purposes, for some of for different classes basically. So this is the beauty of virtualization, that you can create multiple virtual machine on a single hardware. And let me turn a machine for you. So this is my domain controller. So I can power on this domain controller. It has a Windows Server 2019 installed, right? Every virtual machine has its own virtual hardwares. You can see here, right? CPU, memory, disk, USB controller, network interface. So this virtual machine has two network adapters, and you can attach up to 10 networks adapters, right? On a single to a single virtual machine. So that's the story of the virtual machine. Okay, how many space we can assign to operating system, Mr. Sushil? It depends on your operating system, and it also depends on your available storage capacity. Keep in mind that every virtual machine has its own disk, virtual disk, right? And we have two type of the disk: thin provision and thick provision. So this is our topic in module number 3 actually. We will discuss about that, right? So it also depends on your disk type. It also depends the available capacity, and it also depends the operating system. What is this one? This one is guest operating system, right? So it depends on the workload or the environments. There is no limitation. Okay, I got it. Basically, uh, we do have a slide on that. I cannot recall it, but for CPU, I think it's 256 CPU, virtual CPU can be attached to a single virtual machine. And I believe 6 TB VRAM can be assigned to a virtual machine if you have if you have physical RAM available. And it also depends on the operating system, right? Some operating system has a limitation, right? Okay, Pavan has a question that mostly used which one, thin or thick? It depends. So I am a fan of thin provision, but if you have some critical application which are storage centric application, right, like databases, and you cannot put those virtual machine in a risk, then in that case, I would suggest to go for thick provision option. But again, it depends on the virtual machine. Which application are you running on that virtual machine? Any
Sir,
question?
is it possible?
Mhm,
Sir, is it possible if we are configured on the thin provision, or
mhm,
sorry, thick provision,
mhm.
and now we are going to plan to move on a thin provision. So can we do it
Yep,
thick to thin?
yep. Let me tell you something. We have a topic, storage migration, right? And we have a term called storage V-Motion actually. So once you are doing V-Motion, there is an option. Yesterday I was doing this topic to batch number 23. So storage V-Motion. So storage V-Motion is a topic where you can change the disk type as well, right? So you can do that. You can.
I'm sorry, I'm going to detract this topic. Just make sure that if we are using the single host, so then we can achieve this scenario.
Very good question. And I would need to check on that. But I believe it's doable from thin to thick easily. But for thick provision, we use storage vmotion or storage migration. But I would need to check for a single ESXi host. That's a very good question. Yep, I will make a note of that. That if you have a single, so do you have a single ESXi host in your environment, Esan?
Yes. No, no, no. I have a multiple EXSC host, but for the just sake of purpose, so that's why I'm raising this question.
So if you have multiple ESXi hosts, so I believe you are managing them from Vcenter server, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Right.
Yeah, then you should good on that side. Use that storage migration option.
Yes, I've already done on the storage migration as well.
Okay, awesome. So anyone else have a question? Any question? Okay, I think no one said. So we have type of virtualization, right? And luckily, VMware has a solution for every type of virtualization. So for server virtualization, this vSphere product is used. For network virtualization, VMware has a product called NSXT. For storage virtualization, they use vSAN. For desktop virtualization, they use VDI solution like Horizon, right? And we can also use application. So basically, Horizon can does both option. And even we have another option, technology VMware Workspace one. It's like a MDM solution, mobile device management solution, right? So VMware has also a product for security. So it's not only a virtualization company, it's also a security solution company as well, right? So in this training, we are going to focus on only one type of virtualization, which is this one, server virtualization, right? That's the story. Uh,
So in which feature, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I
no
have a
problem.
question.
No problem.
Uh, in which feature, like a VMware, they can provide the thin client. Normally, they are the multiple vendor are offering the thin client. So, is it a solution is available in VMware?
Yeah. So thin client, if you are talking about thin client, so which means you are talking about VDI solution, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you are talking about VDI solution, virtual desktop infrastructure. So VMware has a product name VMware Horizon, right? So VMware has a product. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me open another tab. VMware Horizon. This is VMware Horizon. Uh, Yesterday I showed you something, VMware HL. This is my favorite place. So if you want to know about any product of the VMware, just visit this site, log into your VMware account. If you don't have a VMware account, just create one. It's free and just start practicing on the VMware HL. And there you can see you will even see the interface of that product. So you will be familiar, right? But there are some limitation like if you need to know how you can install ESXi or how you can deploy a new environment. So obviously you need uh, to do for uh, you don't need to pay. It's a permanently you have to you can use it. Sushil, just like you have a Hotmail account, you can create account in VMware and you can do it. Yes, but if you are asking about product download, so there are some limitations. So I believe once you register for a product, you can download that product up for up to 60 days. And after 60 days, you won't be able to download any product. And once you download that product, it also depends on the product. So let's suppose you have vCenter server. So For vCenter server, I think you can use it for 60 days, not more than 60 days. You need to purchase a license for that. My internet is not so good, so let's focus on this.
Sir, in EXSI,
Mhm.
is it free software or what we do?
It's a very good question. So basically, if you have a single hardware like this one, you can download a free version of ESXi. You can also download another free version of this one. But if you are managing these ESXi hosts from vCenter server, then you need to purchase a license for each of the hosts. And also for vCenter server, you need to purchase a license. Is that clear, Mr. Hassan?
Yes, I'm clear, but in a parallel, if I'm talking about the VMware, like a licensing time, and you can say the pricing, so it can be the unethical. We can't. Is it? I'm not sure, but is it free for the EXSI? If let's suppose we have a multiple machine, then just we need to install the EXI free version. So it not depend on the money on the VMware side. So I can't believe it. The VMware will provide the free EXSI operating system.
Basically, let me tell you one thing. Okay, let me tell you something. Basically, in 2021, I became V expert, right? So what is V expert? Just Google it. Basically, this is you don't need to take any exam. You don't need to appear. You don't need to study for it. If you have a VMware knowledge, right? Just use your knowledge and deliver that knowledge for free to your friends, your in the community. Start reading blogs, start writing blogs, start making videos and upload them on YouTube, right? Regarding VMware technology. So every year, or I think it's now after each 6 months, you can submit an application. So just submit application to VMware that hey, I am doing this for a community. So they will review your application. Once they review and you are eligible, they will give you a recognition of VMware V Expert, right? So I'm also, Alhamdulillah, I'm V Expert 2021 and also I'm V Expert 2022. So once you become V Expert, there is your portal, right? V Expert application portal. You can log in
No,
using.
I think so.
No,
I'm
no.
not.
Now let me finish. I'm coming to your topic. So once you have a V Expert
Uh,
application portal access, you can get access to all licensing for free for up to 1 year. Next year, if you become again V Expert, then you will get access. For production environment, right? The recommendation is that you need to purchase license from VMware. Not only license, but also a support. Just keep in mind. Don't, I mean, if you are a part of an organization, right? They are paying for the licensing. You are not paying. So just tell them, your management, that hey, we need to purchase a license, we need to purchase a support, right? So if you don't have a support from VMware and if you get some issue in the production environment, then just, I mean, this is your responsibility then, right? But
mm,
yeah, so
I got your point, but in a parallel, I'm basically my question is that if they are offering the free operating system EXSI, so how they can generate the revenue of the VMware side? So
okay,
this is my
okay,
question.
this is your question. Let me
I'm
answer
not challenging your, your
that.
knowledge, just
No, 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 no. I'm just telling you. I got you. Thank you. Basically, why they giving the free license for ESXi host? The reason is, even though if you have a free license for ESXi, right, you can create virtual machine. can run operating system and you can do whatever you want on a single ESXi host. But again, if this is your production environment and you have two virtual machine running on this hardware on a free version, if something happens to this hardware, these two virtual machine will stop working. Then you have to migrate or move the folders of this virtual machine to another machine uh, manually, or maybe it can take 1 hour, it can take 2 hour, it can take days, right? So there is a downtime. So then uh, there is no DRS feature available, there is no HA feature available, there is no vMotion feature available, because all these features are available only if you have a vCenter server installed. And if you have a vCenter server, then you cannot use free version of ESXi. So that's their game basically. It's a trick. So I hope you got my point.
Yes, I got your point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hardest expended dead time, any downtime is needed. No, Pawan Kumar, we have a topic. Let me give you an example right now. I have this domain controller. In how much space I have? 100 GB. It's powered on, right? I can just right click. I can edit settings and I can change the disk to 10110. So I just added 10 GB more space to my this virtual machine. Once you log into this virtual machine, right, just go to disk management and refresh uh, your disk, and you would see the added 10 GB space, the additional 10 GB space, and you can extend your volume and you can assign that space as well. Okay, so Sheila, I'm going. Your question is for VExpert. If you don't have a YouTube channel, still you can become a VExpert. If you have a website, right, and you are writing something, you are a blogger, right? So sometime every year, and I visit some of the universities here in Pakistan, and I just take a picture, and I also shared my picture links to VMware. That see, I visited that university, and I delivered this training, right? This is the proof. So make me VExpert. So with VExpert, you get access to multiple free sessions like webinars. There are some channels, Slack channels, where you can directly talk to VMware guys and you can put your question there and they will answer you. Okay, anything? I'm going to start a short lab. Uh, at least I will draw a diagram that how you can start building your own lab and what would be the ultimate lab of our this course. So just give me 2 minutes more. Pawan, you can see 10 GB is here. I can just extend the volume and that's it. The
Yes,
magic.
sir.
It's the magic. Now let's talk about RAM. Sorry, the lab. That how we are going to build a lab. Basically, for this whole training, just give me 1 second. I need to know. Okay, aerial. Why my laptop is running slow? 18 bold. That's it. So we need uh, minimum 3 ASXI host, but I would say 3 ASXI host. We need DNS, or I can say domain controller, right? For management, we need Vcenter server. We need shared storage. We need a management PC. So how many machines do we need? We need three hardwares. If you want to practice on this whole training, you should have a three hardware, and on each hardware we are going to install ESXi hypervisor, right? This would be the story. We will start from this hardware 2 and hardware 3. All the three hardwares would be connected to a switch, physical switch, like it could be Cisco switch or TP-Link or Juniper, whatever. The recommendation is basically minimum resources. I mean, if you have a 4 GB hardware, you can install ESXi. But in production environment, obviously there would be 32 GB RAM, 64 GB RAM. Ehsan, what is the specification of the server hardware do you have? How much RAM do you have in your server hardware?
So basically, we are using the Dell R740.
Mm-hmm,
It's a gold processor, which have we are using the two physical sockets.
mm-hmm.
The each CPU processor have a 48 cores. So if we are
Each socket
conclude the two
has,
processor,
okay, let me,
yes,
each socket has physical 48 cores or 24 cores physical, but logically 24
each basically it's a one processor have a 48 core overall.
overall. Okay,
Yes. So uh, if is equal to the two equal to the around 96.
okay, got it.
So we are using the 512 GB RAM,
Mm-hmm.
and we are using the uh, 8 port Ethernet card.
Mm, network adapter.
Also we are yes, also we are using the fiber channel card as well, which is directly connecting to the enterprise SAN. We are using the Dell SAN, yes, HBA card. So we are using the enterprise SAN, which is the Dell brand. It's a ME4024.
Mm-hmm.
We are it have a the 12 terabyte hard drive,
Perfect. Okay,
and we are using the three cluster. Sorry, three hosts. So each host have a same specs.
okay. So your storage is which one? Dell? What is your storage appliance model? Storage array? SN, if you are speaking, you are muted.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. ME 4024.
okay. How much capacity do you have in this storage?
It's around uh, 22 terabyte.
Okay, 22 terabyte.
Yeah, basically we are using, yes, basically we it's a combination of SSD and SAS hard drive.
Mm,
Basically, this enterprise SAN have capability to the auto tiering feature. If we are using the hot data, so the hot data will be convert from the SAS to the SSD, and the call data will be stored on the SAS hard drive. So
Okay.
it's have a capacity, the feature of the multi-tiering feature.
So each, uh, as you mentioned, that each hardware has 8 network adapters, right?
Yes,
So again, why they need 8 network adapters? The reason is to properly configure the networking for the virtual machines, right? So again, if basically
yes, definitely.
yeah, the VMware recommendation is 4 network adapters minimum. But if you have more than 4, that's good. That's very good. Yeah, so we can also talk about your lab during the class, Mr. Hassan, as I know you are going with me. So, inshallah, during the upcoming lectures, we will also review your environment. So at least we will have a better idea of your environment, and also we can uh, make a relation of our lab and your environment as well. So three
Uh,
hosts are
Sir,
needed.
I'm basing the basically I'm missing the one point. We are using the two physical switch for the backup purpose.
Mm,
So each EXSI host connecting to the two different switches.
yeah, it must be. And that topic
Yes,
we are going to discuss in module number 5, inshallah. That basically, just keep in mind, guys, that they have like two physical switches, right? And why they have a two physical switches? There is also a story behind that, right? That as they mentioned that they have two physical switches, right? So why they have a two physical switches? For redundancy purpose, for uh, load balancing purpose, right? To isolate different traffic. Maybe this physical switch carries the vMotion traffic. Maybe this are the management traffic. Maybe this physical switch carries the virtual machine data, right? Is it true?
yes. Well, in my case, we are using the for the redundant purpose. We are using the two switches.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense. Uh, Pavan, we have two types of switches here in this course. One is called vSphere standard switch, and the other one is vSphere distributed switch, right? So we have two types of switches. Again, how many? So we need this storage appliance. We need 3 different hardwares, and also we need vCenter server. So vCenter server is basically an appliance. So this should not be an issue. You can deploy vCenter server here. So it's a virtual machine. You can deploy on any of the ESXi host. It's not going to be a problem. It has a Photon operating system installed. We will discuss then in module number uh, 4, inshallah, that what is vCenter server, how we can deploy vCenter server, right? So we are going to discuss that. So for vCenter server, we don't need a hardware. So we can deploy this on any of the ESXi host. Domain controller. Uh, Sushil, I'm going to answer you. Domain controller, so it's also not a big issue. You can create a VM here and you can install a server operating system, right? And then you can uh, install Active Directory domain services. So I'm just trying to make your mind that how much resources you need to complete this training for this whole training. I know I think some of you have already decided that they are not going with me because this training is going to be very expensive for them because they are going to purchase 3 different hardwares, 2 switches, in one uh, storage array, right? So I can understand how you feel right now, but just stay with me. I have a good news for you that you can also create your own lab. So how you can do that? I think all of you have a laptop, right? So you just need to do one time investment on your laptop, right? I think we have 3 minutes left, so we will be disconnected. So then please feel free to join me again. And in the meantime, let me answer Mr. Sushil. If storage has some problem like hardware issue or power failure issue, yes, we have a topic called multipathing, which we are going to discuss in module number 6, which is all about storage. So it is our responsibility to implement such a solution where we have a storage redundancy as well, because storage is a very important part. So if you have a hardware, right, laptop, and you have Windows 10 installed, right, what you can do, you can install a software called VMware Workstation. So I'm just guiding you for a home lab guidance, right? So on this VMware Workstation, you can create a VM. Yeah, so I am starting from beginning, Mr. iPhone. I'm just making your mind that how you are going to prepare a lab for this training. So what you can do, you can create 3 virtual machine, right? And you can install ESXi. You can create another virtual machine and you can install, you can deploy Vcenter server, right? Photon and Vcenter server, right? And you can create another virtual machine and you can use it for domain controller. So you can build a lab on this one. And first, for storage, we do have an option for you. There are many software available. Let me name one: Starwin, OpenFiler, FreeNAS. Okay, so we can also use such softwares for storage, shared storage, just for a practice purposes, right? So it's doable. You just need this hardware, right? And you can prepare this. For our training, what would be my approach, right? Uh, for our training, what I will do, I have a single hardware, right? This one, and I have like, so if you have a single hardware, minimum RAM should be 32 GB RAM. But if you have more than 32 GB RAM, that's fine. If you have 8 cores, so I would say 16 cores, that would be good. For storage, it's up to you guys. And 1 Gbps network adapter should be fine. So this should be the minimum requirement of the hardware for your practice purpose, right? So what I did basically, I have installed ESXi here, right? And I will be creating This would be my lab actually. Salman Badshah. It would be very expensive for you, Mr. Salman. So better to purchase a hardware for yourself, and you can install hypervisor, right? And then create. And let me show you something. I have this hardware. This is my physical machine, right? 171. Once I log into this one, right? So I have, yeah, HL is also best, but best practice is that you should have your own hardware, so at least you can prepare your lab, to build your lab from the scratch. Here you can see here I have created many virtual machine here. You can see this is my domain controller, this is my batch number 23 vcenter server, and these are my two ESXi host. So this is my whole lab for batch number 23, and I have this single hardware, right? So on this hardware, I have created four virtual machines. I'm using this domain controller for uh, which purpose? For DNS, and also I'm using this for authentication. And also I have installed Starvent software, which provide a shared storage capability to my these two ESXi hosts. And I have also created NFS server here. So this is also my NAS server or NFS server. This is my vCenter server, and this one is my management PC. So you can do the same thing, right? You can prepare the same lab like I just prepared for my classes, right? So all you need a single hardware. And if you are going with me, if you are a proper student, if you are uh, register yourself, then obviously you will get access to my lab. And I have assistant, Mr. Zishan. I will connect with you with him, and he will be your lab assistant whenever you need to do practice. You need to schedule a time with him, and then you can access my lab as well. Just like I'm accessing it remotely, right? This hardware is not with me in the room. It's somewhere else. So I just log in remotely using RDP to my management PC, and from management PC I access my ESXi host, and I can turn on virtual machine, and I can practice on all. Uh, yeah, you are right, Mr. Salman, but again, there are some limitations. There are some limitation of resources, so better to purchase your own hardware. But if you are my student, and if you do the registration stuff, and if you are going with me permanently, then obviously I will guide you. But I have many students, they have like a server hardware, so I can also connect you with them, and you can uh, um, make contact with them, and you can use their server as well for practice purposes, right? Okay, anything else, guys? uh, we only have 5 minutes left because unfortunately I'm not uh, able to start the installation stuff because we need to understand some of the things. But again, if you are not joining this training, I have a good news for you. I have some uploaded lectures already available, at least the basic lecture that how you can install ESXi host, right? How you can create your own home lab. So I do have some uh, lectures uploaded on my YouTube channel. So let me show you. Uh, Let me access to my YouTube channel, and let me show the playlist from where you can cover how you can do that. You just need to write Kashif Buneri IT trainer. Once you log into my channel, there is a playlist option, and You can, if you are Urdu or Hindi, so you can use this data center virtualization playlist. You can open it, and I believe on the video section I have a topic. Yep, this one. So this is the video, VMware ESXi installation and configuration. So you can also use this video and watch and start playing with the option. All right. Again, I'm here for 4 minutes more. If you have any question, any suggestion, anything in your mind, feel free to ask me
Sir,
question.
sir, I have a question.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I have a multiple questions. So last, I have a question. And during this training, we will discuss the migration. So, how many migration we will discuss in this training? Can you explain it?
Yep. Basically, we are going to discuss hot migration, cold migration, and then under cold migration, we have if a VM is powered off or suspended state, you can move it, right? We will also discuss storage migration, like storage V-Motion, right? We will also discuss long distance migration. We will also discuss if we have multiple vCenter server, so how you can migrate a virtual machine from one vCenter server to another vCenter server, right? So in module number 7, there is a specific time, specific lesson only for migration, and we do have labs as well for migrations.
Sir, can we discuss on the regarding migration from the VMware to the Azure or AWS? So, in this training, can we discuss on it?
It's a very good question, Mr. Asan. Let me tell you something. Uh, do you know? Have you heard about physical to virtual P2v?
Yes, I know. Yes, I know this feature.
Okay. So basically, P2v means that if you have a physical machine and you want to convert that physical machine into virtual machine, so VMware has that capability. Even if you are moving your Hyper-V virtual machine to the ESXi, it's also doable. It's called V2V, virtual to virtual. If you have Azure, if you have AWS, right? If you have any other cloud, so VMware has that capability that you can move your workload to the cloud, public cloud as well. We don't have a topic for public cloud here, but I cannot promise, but I would see if we are able to do that and during the class, so I would be happy to do that topic as well. But
So,
I'm
so
not
we are
promising.
waiting for your bonus point.
So I cannot promise, but again I will try if we can at least do the P2V, V2V, and also. But we would see. It would totally depend on your interest. I mean, your feedback and your response. So if your
Sir,
response is positive, so then definitely I would be more motivated to deliver all my knowledge or to share all my knowledge with you guys. Yes, I think someone else.
Thank you much so much.
Welcome.
sir,
Hmm.
sir, many users told me that tell the sir that after this course, if you will complete this course, then what would be the position in production environment? What kind of job we can do after this course?
Yeah, we have a separate slide for that. It's depend on your knowledge level. You can become a vSphere administrator. You can become a virtualization administrator. You can, even if you are a system administrator, you can some of here and even in Pakistan here we have some job description for system administration and they required this VMware knowledge. And if you have a strong grip, you can become a solution architect as well. You can become a pre-sale engineer as well, right? You can become a consultant as well for this. So it totally depends on your grip and your skills and your knowledge toward this technology, right?
So we can, if there is an option for vCenter server update, we can update directly from the GUI, or we have to go back to the EXI. From there, we have to upgrade.
Basically, we have a separate module, the last module for upgradation, right? So yes, upgradation is a very important part of this course. So if you have a vCenter server 6.7, so you can do that. You can upgrade into 7.0. If you have a Windows based vCenter server, so unfortunately in Windows 7, sorry, in vCenter version 7, there is no option for Windows based. So in that case, what you will do, you will first migrate that Windows based vCenter to appliance, and then you can upgrade it to 7.0. So there are some methods or steps, right? So all these steps would be discussed in module number 11. But what you can do in the meantime, you can, there are a lot of documentation available. vCenter upgrade best practice. You can write this. Once you write this, just open this link, kb.vmware.com. This is the official site. So once you visit this site, you will get to know the best practice of how you can upgrade into vCenter Server 7.0, the latest version, right? There are steps available. Everything is available online. Believe me. You can even learn this technology without this training, but it would take a lot of time. Yes. Yes. Anyone else? You still have.
So after this training, can I give you my Anydex ID to double check the errors? Yesterday we spoke about the errors. Even if it's reset to green, it is still showing red and yellow for
Uh,
memory and cover all.
what's your name? iPhone. Do you have my WhatsApp number? If you have, just ping me, and I will connect with you
Yes,
after
sir.
12 o'clock,
I
after two
already
hours.
WhatsApp with you.
Yeah, just send me.
Okay.
Yeah, just send me a message on WhatsApp, and I have another session started now, so I will connect with you after 2 hours. We have Peter.
Okay,
We
sir.
have a question from Peter. Laptop with 6-core CPU and 32 GB RAM will be able to run the lab. Yes, it's possible, but again, there would be some performance issue as well, Mr. Peter. I'm not a fan of laptop for vSphere training. My recommendation would be just go to market and purchase an old server, right? What you can do, if you have a group of students, they can contribute and purchase a server hardware and they can use it for their own labs. Yeah, okay. I think I should uh, uh, end this session. Inshallah, see you next week. uh,
Hello.
yes.
Just want to know, suppose we want to get the certification, then how it is possible?
Okay.
Yesterday you also told me, but that was not enough. So
Okay.
can you share this here?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can
please.
definitely share here. Basically, VMware certification is totally different from other certification like Cisco and Microsoft. The VCP exam price is only $250, right? So you can directly schedule your exam. You can visit this site, VMware certification. You can just write this. Once you visit VMware site, it will give you different options like which level of certification do you need? Data center virtualization, network virtualization, cloud management and automation. So if you are going for this track, is we have started this one. So you can click this certification because our training is VCP level. It's uh, a professional level certification, right? So if you don't have any certification, if this is your first time, Step number one, gain experience with vSphere 7.0, right? Step number two, attend one of the required training courses. So we have started this training, any of these courses. So we have started this one. So once you attend this training, right, after that, you can take this exam, this one. The cost of this exam is $250 and it's a 130 minutes exam, 70 questions, right? So you can schedule your exam. You can directly take this exam. But if you don't show your VMware class ID to VMware, you will be not considered a certified person. You will see your result. You will see your result that you have passed this exam, but there will be no record of any certification against your name, right? So for that, you need to have a VMware class ID, right? So I will share the details with you. There are some extra charges as well. My training charges plus the VMware class ID charges plus the certification voucher charges. So just ping me on WhatsApp and I will share the details with you there. But that's the story. Okay, I think I should uh, leave now because the other students are pinging me. So let me go to their class and let's see. Thank you everyone for making time to join this session to make it beautiful and see you inshallah next time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.